Welcome everybody. It is 12:48 p.m. Central Standard Time on March the 16th, 2022. I'm about to show you some things that might just bend your fabric of reality, things that are really going on in the world and have been going on for quite some time. So this particular video I am calling "The Future is Now." Over here at Third Phase of Moon, and we're going to talk about something that Dr. Stephen Greer is actually getting ready to release, a new video of disclosure information. Take a listen to this.
The Cousin brothers wanted to interview me and have me sort of present the information. Michael Schratz in it, Jim Goodall, who's a very famous aerospace illustrator, is in it. There's he was at the 20th anniversary of our disclosure project, and it's good. Its focus is really on these technologies and the existence of them and the covert programs. I think it's very timely, but we need to connect it. And we can actually take a pause if you want to see the trailer.
If the crash retrievals are true, then all bets are off.
It's very hard for people to get their minds around where the
technical difficulties.
Where the real power is, and it's not at 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue. The reality is something much more stark.
They've been working on this for 60, 70, perhaps 80 years.
The reason why the government is talking about these UFOs now, they're getting ready for the next level of war.
Are these objects a national security concern?
They're proffering a narrative of a national security threat that doesn't exist.
I call them alien reproduction vehicles. They're made by
Billy
private
Carson
corporations somewhere on this planet.
Technology from Roswell from 1947 has largely been held back from us.
Portal technology, teleportation, whatever you can imagine, it's already been done.
To think about this for a minute. Whatever you can imagine has already been done, and I'm going to show you some examples of that in a moment.
Been done.
The biggest secrets are not the zero-point energy and electromagnetic.
See that grid around the Earth? Skynet?
All their communication
Starlink?
systems are moving through the consciousness field and are thought-actuated. The people at the CIA call it
Thought-actuated
WSFM,
consciousness
weird
field.
science and frickin' magic.
That's right, folks.
The transdimensional interstellar
They can already do it.
technology
They've been doing it
will benefit
for
humanity.
years.
There has been tremendous disinformation.
The media is keeping secrets with the government.
These are lethal, vicious people. And I'm focused on exposing the extraordinary technologies that they want to keep secret.
Sorry for the technical difficulties, folks.
No aspect of life on
See that
Earth will be
Skynet?
unaffected by it. Look at all of that. And look at...
Now, you ready for some examples? Let me show you. Over here to Motivation Manifested. Dr. Charles Morgan, Central Intelligence Agency.
Said, could you give us a brief on what's in store for us in the future? And it was some information I think some people didn't know, and I think it's good for people to be aware of what's going on out there. Can you actually send and receive sensory information, like the Matrix? The short answer is yes.
Yes.
What we do know is that DARPA did get permission for 500 operations to do deep brain electrode implants. They haven't published anything yet, but my guess is what you're looking at is human-human thought transference, and certainly in the open science world, that was published last month. Actually, the brain-to-brain transfer of sensory information in 2 humans. And they achieved a success rate of being right 85% of the time. So you can attach one human brain to a device. You can attach the human brain to another human brain. You can direct motor activity, or you can send communication and information.
Your TV's brainwashing you.
So that's what people
It's
are
all
doing.
real.
There's a whole world out there of biohacking. I don't know if you're aware of it, but you should be. So normally at the university, we are well regulated by the federal laws about studying and experimenting on humans. There's a biohacking community that is not part of the official science community.
It's called
They're
private
busy
corporations.
trying to attach hardware to humans, and they do it in their basements. They study up on how to do the surgeries, how to connect devices, how to put motherboards in people.
This should
And
scare
we
the
use
hell
it for
out of
some
everyone.
purposes, like fishing, using RFID signals in their hands to take information from you. But there are some other interesting developments. When you start thinking about the fluidity of what you can do with the brain, they're experimenting with CE6 and giving people with eye drops night vision. For several hours, the person receiving the night drops can see over 160 feet in the dark. So
Think about
it's a lot
that.
easier to look through your own eyes than it is to put on.
They can see 160 feet in the dark from eye drops. Does anybody remember a specific movie where they talk about seeing in the dark? Does anybody remember the movie The Chronicles of Riddick, where his eyes were polished and he could see in the dark? Yeah, they were telling us they've already been able to do it.
And we get from the biohacking community, but it could also be readily available to almost anybody on the planet. It's going to be harder to keep this under control than it is to keep the special lenses and night vision technology. So I think it's really important that people pay attention to this kind of thing, because that can give humans the natural ability for a while to see in the dark. So people are playing with chemicals to enhance the human capacity. They're also experimenting now with how do you add a device to the mammalian brain to give it an extra sensory ability. You may not want to detect infrared. You might want to have a room temperature detector of radiation, depending on what your job is in life. So when you think about it, the possibility now is there to develop different kinds of devices. They could be perhaps used either by intelligence people or by people in the military to have an extra ability to be able to see through walls.
Or
to,
super soldiers.
See heartbeats. We used to
Enhance
play
the
with
human body.
18
Super strength.
gigahertz microwave detectors where we could pick up heartbeats through anything but solid steel and water, but that could easily be a human who can see the unique heartbeat that's behind the wall over there that's thermal insensitive. So it doesn't have to be IR. It can be a number of things. Anything that you can co-opt is theoretically now possible to adapt to human brain functioning. All you'd have to learn is the code. You'd have to train with it. It might not be natural at first. You might not understand the signal you're getting, but you can add to human brain function. You can also use it to intercept signals. The experiment that was just released this last month, as I said, demonstrated that people could transfer knowledge from one human to another. And I
Telepathy.
commented to a couple of my colleagues, and I said, I think right now the most direct application of that is going to be either covert communication or running drones. The set of experiments, I didn't have videos to show you, but there have been a series that have shown you can connect the human brain to a rat and control its motor movement and its tail. So you can.
Now think about this. Using this technology for war. Why do you think they have all these war games on video consoles? And these kids are out there and they're just really, really good and they're really smart and they can do this with their mind and with the hand and with controls. Imagine just being able to do it with your mind without having to have a control pad in your hand. Insane.
You can have non-human animal drones. You can have the human brain
Controlling an
probably
animal to go
run
bite
a
someone
regular
specifically.
drone at this point.
That animal has rabies or
running a
whatever
non-human
disease.
drone, something like a cockroach or a rat.
Or go
would
spy on
be
someone.
Awesome. And now
They're already
you're
doing
watching
it.
the Olympics and you see the coordinated maze of drones. The software is now really readily available, where you could have hordes of little creatures that can gain access to facilities, or move around in different places, all run by a person sitting in a booth. It's no more technically challenging once you do that than figuring out the logistics of how you're going to send your signal somewhere else in the world and how to protect that signal. But that's now.
Skynet.
That's not in the future.
Starlink.
So as you begin to think what's in 5 years, the interfaces are going to become more delicate, more refined, and as transcranial magnetic stimulation, it's a rather crude instrument right now. It creates a field that excites just hordes of neurons. But as they refine the technology so you can get a better point specificity to the neurons you actually want to activate, you should be able to do this without penetrating the skull. Someone could wear a cap.
Wait till you find this next point out.
Brain communication in human.
I'll get to it here. Do some research on Dr. Craig Ventnor back in 2010. He created a synthetic life through yeast. Listen to this.
We're familiar with his work, but this technology paired with something called CRISPR, which is like an editing software for genes, makes a number of things immediately available. What he did is he programmed yeast cells to produce anything he wanted. They can produce perfume, they can produce petroleum, they can produce any peptide, anything we program the DNA to do, and it's in the living cell. And so in medicine, the goal in medicine now is to be able to do designer medicine and therapy. If we can design a cell to get into your body and release the right product for you, you won't be losing half the drugs you take through your liver when you swallow a pill and it gets digested. These can be inserted into you through the hypospray needles, almost like
or through pills. Watch this. Anybody remember Star Trek, where Captain James T. Kirk and his crew, they took a Klingon ship around the sun and went back in time? Remember this scene right here? Watch this.
What's the matter with you?
Kidney dialysis.
Dialysis. God, what is this, the Dark Ages?
Kidney dialysis. Is this the Dark Ages?
You swallow that. And if you have any problems, just call me.
And then just a short bit later, after they were trying to get out of the hospital with Chekhov, listen to the lady. Listen to the old lady. Doctor gave me a pill and I grew a new kidney.
For those of you who don't know, your DNA is usually all wrapped up in tight little coils. And so what you're doing is when they create plasmids and put them into cells, it sends a signal and tells which portion of the DNA should unwrap, unfold, and produce a product.
Like a kidney.
So this is the future of medicine. When you look at this technology in medicine,
Dr. McCoy gave her that pill to grow a new kidney.
We want to be able to give them medicines. We actually want to correct for genetic deficits. If a kid's born with a genetic anomaly, with the CRISPR technology, the feeling is we can create the portion of the gene they're missing and go have it spliced back in. And
like
that may help the child, either if it's in utero development or once they're older, to have the missing substance actively produced. What would you do with this if you were in security and intelligence?
This is real stuff, folks. The future is now.
Well, you can do a number of things. You could decide, if you make this gene, we know that certain people in the world who function at very high altitudes very well do it because they had a special mutation in their genome that we don't have because we didn't grow up in the Himalayas. But they can function at very high altitudes. Could you give this to people who are going to have to do warfighting at high altitudes and they don't require extra support?
You can even put a timer on it to last for 3 months, 6 months, and then they can go back to being normal.
The rest of us. You start letting your mind
technology
wander.
is
Can
insane,
it also produce a
and it's been
substance that lets
suppressed.
you function longer underwater without oxygen?
Think about that.
But these are run
Navy
by
SEALs
certain
have a whole new
mutations in
place
genes,
now, don't
and
they?
with CRISPR, we have the ability to actually make these and see what happens when we give them to animals, non-human or human animals, that don't have it naturally.
Please make sure to hit that like button and share this across other platforms. Please subscribe if you're new. And remember, folks, eyes open, no fear. And remember that love is the only way forward.